الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم. الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور والذين كفروا أولياؤهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون.
Salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Au nom d'Allah, le très gracieux, le miséricordieux, traduction de Surah Al-Baqarah, chapitre 2 du Saint-Coran, versets 256 à 258. Allah, aucun pas digne d'adoration excepté lui. Il est vivant, il existait par lui-même. Et l'eau lui-même qui l'existence, tout qui chose dépend. Ni assoupissement, ni le sommeil pas attrape-lui. C'est à lui-même qui appartenait tout ce qui demande le ciel et tout ce qu'il a la terre. Qui s'en là qui capable d'intercéder auprès de lui sans sa permission, l'icône ce qui devant ban là et ce qui derrière ban là. Et ban là, pas qu'on n'a rien de Allah sur connaissance, sauf ce qu'il lit lui. Ce trône lui couvert ban les ciels et la terre, et maintient ça de là, pas cause lui aucun souci. Et c'est lui-même le très haut dans sa gloire, le bien grand. Faudrait pas et n'a aucune contrainte dans la religion. Assurément, il y a une distinction claire entre le bien et le mal. Donc, des gens qui refusent de se guider par un transgresseur et qui croient d'Allah, alors certainement, les fins attrapent un poignet solide et impossible pour casser. Et Allah, c'est lui qui donne tout et qui connaît tout. Et Allah, les camarades, tout ban qui croient, les retient depuis toutes sortes l'obscurité et les amène dans la lumière. Et quant à ban qui pas croient, c'était là pour camarades ban transgresseurs qui tirent dans la lumière pour amener vers toutes sortes l'obscurité. Ça ban là qui ban habitant d'y fait et zot pour rester longtemps là-dedans même. C'est ça comme ça.
I would like now to welcome some of our guests. Mrs. Suleka Radwa is the mayor of the town of Katobon. My friend Farad Daulat, who is the mayor of Aquaphoenix. The chairman of the district council, and other guests who are now present. We will now proceed with a recitation of a poem, which we call Nazam, by Brother Kaleem Sudan.
अस्सलामु अलैकुम रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। कलाम हज़रत मसीह मौऊद अलैहिस्सलातु वस्सलाम। एक न एक दिन पेश होगा तू फना के सामने, चल नहीं सकती किसी की कुछ कज़ा के सामने। छोड़नी होगी तुझे दुनियाए फानी एक दिन, हर कोई मजबूर है हुक्मे खुदा के सामने। मुस्तकिल रहना है लाजिम ऐ बशर तुझको सदा, रंजो गम या सो अलम, फिक्रो बला के सामने। बारगाहे इज़्दी से तू न यूं मायूस हो, मुश्किलें क्या चीज हैं, मुश्किल कुशा के सामने, मुश्किल मुश्किलें क्या चीज हैं, मुश्किल कुशा के सामने। हाजतें पूरी करेंगे क्या तेरी आजिज़ बशर, कर बयां सब हाजतें, हाजत रवा के सामने। कर बयां सब हाजतें, हाजत रवा के सामने। चाहिए तुझको मिटाना कल्ब से नक्शे दुई, सर झुका बस मालिके अर्ज़ो समा के सामने। सर झुका बस मालिके अर्ज़ो समा के सामने।
Respected Hamid Karim Mahmood Sahib, representative of the Caliph, Honorable Mrs. Leela Devi Dukan Lachman, Minister of Education, Human Resources, Tertiary Education and Scientific Research, respected Amir Sahib, Mayors and President of District Council, distinguished guests, brothers and sisters. We are celebrating this weekend the 57th Jalsa Salana of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community Mauritius. As is our tradition, we hold an open session where we connect with our fellow countrymen and we share some time with them. For anyone who travels to attend the Jalsa Salana, there are prayers of the promised Messiah Islam which accompanies them. These prayers and supplications are not directed at Ahmadis only, but extend to anyone traveling to the Jalsa Salana, that is the annual convention. So we give you the good news that you are also part of the blessings associated with this function. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community has never adopted the intolerant way. We have an openness, and we consider that it is in line with the practice of both the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and the promised Messiah Islam, a way also adopted by the blessed Khulafa. It is an undeniable fact that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is growing into a major world player. In some countries, its views and those of its Khalifa are thought, valued, and appreciated. The days are not far when, inshallah, the community would be accepted as the sole representative of the Islamic voice. This is why an astute observer will immediately know that this community's leadership, that is its Khalifa, is laying the foundations for the role that it is expected and foreseen to play. Openness towards our fellow countrymen is one such step that we are taking. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this session, and having said so, I would like now to invite the Mayoress of Quatre-Bornes, Mrs. Suleka Radwa, who was a former civil servant, and now she has joined the political arena, and she is now the Mayoress of Quatre-Bornes. Suleka, can you come, please?
Merci mon frère Moubarak Bouden, qui est un collègue de longue date. Nous avons travaillé ensemble dans plusieurs ministères dans le gouvernement. Et l'honorable Madame Lila Devi-Dugan, ministre de l'Éducation, il y a le Amir Mr. Doju et d'autres honorables dignitaires, mes collègues, maires et conseillers, mon député maire qui est là, président District Council, et tous les honorables membres de la communauté Ahmadiyya. Nous sommes tout le temps très heureux d'être parmi vous. Et moi, personnellement, j'ai tout le temps dit dans mes commentaires que depuis que je côtoie la communauté ahmadiste, vous êtes des personnes tellement humbles, calmes, cool. Alors, comme si quand on est parmi vous, c'est du quality time qu'on est en train de passer. Et là, je vais demander à tous mes sœurs et mes frères de la communauté Ahmadiyya qui m'écoutent, qui vous êtes devant moi là, que on va demander à Dieu que tout le monde ici à Maurice, nous avons eu la chance d'être nés dans un pays comme l'île Maurice où nous sommes tous en train de vivre en parfaite harmonie, de continuer pareil. Parce que surtout nous avons un gouvernement qui est mené par notre Premier ministre, Ravin Kumar Jagannath, qui est tellement gentil, bon, et puis il pense tout le temps ce qui est bon pour son peuple. Alors, pour vivre en parfaite harmonie, comme nous sommes en train de le vivre actuellement, je souhaite à Dieu qu'on continue à vivre en parfaite harmonie. Moi, j'appelle la communauté Ahmadi tout le temps « beautiful people ». En disant « beautiful », I don't mean that you are very beautiful outside, no. C'est « beautiful by heart »,« beautiful soul ». Et je souhaite au bon Dieu que vous allez continuer d'être comme ça. Merci pour votre attention.
I now have the pleasure of inviting Honorable Lila Devi Dukan Lachman, Minister of Education, Human Resources, Tertiary Education and Scientific Research, to address us. But before addressing us, I'd like Mahmoud Sahib, to introduce her to you. She is the Minister of Education. She is the first member of the constituency of Karachi Military Mocha. She has been in politics for many years now, former Minister of Social Security. She is now engaged in I would say, wholesale transformation of the education sector and time devoted to change the whole educational landscape in Mauritius. I have now the pleasure of inviting Mrs. Dukan to take the stage. Thank you very much.
Mr. Musa Tuju, Amir Jamaat at Mauritius, distinguished guests from Holland and India, Mr. Bouden, the Mayor of Catrabon, the President of the District Council of Mocha, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and brothers and sisters of the Ahmadiyya community. It is indeed a privilege for me, and even an honor, to be here amidst you today for the 57th Annual Convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community of Mauritius. It is my understanding that the three-day convention was established in 1891 by the founder of the Ahmadiyya movement and in Islam, Hadrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmed. That is 127 years ago. I'm now told that except for one particular year, when the founder member himself decided not to have the convention held, this convention has been held without break and has finally ended up becoming a spiritual convention. A convention as stated in the pamphlet provided, not a festival. A convention which is a spiritual one, where people come together and try to strengthen their religious and spiritual beliefs. But it is also an opportunity for brothers and sisters of the community to meet, to exchange their views, to share their views on important issues, and to review certain ways of life. I think it is a matter of pride for all of the members of the community here gathered today to have been able to sustain this convention for more than a century. I gather that there is intent and determination to keep it going all the time. Having many friends in the community, I know that the community has spread in over 210 countries around the world. And today, this convention is held in all these countries and has many, many people sitting and reflecting on how to make life better. And I think that at the beginning, when the convention was held in Kadian exclusively, and whenever it was held, the Caliph was always present. So, in the word of the founder of the Ahmadiyya movement, this convention has a primary purpose. The purpose is to enable every sincere individual to personally experience religious benefits, enhance their knowledge, and due to their being blessed and enabled by Allah, they would also benefit from secondary benefits, and that is, congregational meeting together will promote mutual introduction amongst all brothers and will strengthen their fraternal ties within the community. I'm told also that when this convention is held, there are prayers that are made, and these prayers are made such that all members who've taken the pains to come and to participate are blessed, and all their hardships are removed. And we believe that coming to the convention will also remove the obstacles and hurdles in their lives. And I believe that for all those who are present here today, this would apply. It will eliminate grief, anxiety, and anguish, and it will ensure that you lead your life in a peaceful manner and full of hope. I believe that in a country like Mauritius, where harmony is something that sometimes we take for granted, it is important for all members of the society to strengthen their ties within their individual community, but also to extend this friendship, this fraternity, to all of the members of the various communities that exist in Mauritius. So today, brothers and sisters, in an era where the world is becoming more and more materialist, where globalization and technology are taking very important spaces in the life of people, it is important to take time to reflect on how to strengthen ties, but also how to ensure that the right values are transmitted to the generations to come. Sitting here at the table, I could read the views put on the boards. I think it's very important for us to note that life is full of beauties, but we need to extract the best out of it, learn to live properly, and ensure that we can keep on passing the same good values to our children. As I was saying, in a world of globalization, where our children are exposed to all types of currents, it is important, all types of views, through internet, through WhatsApp and many other devices, it is important for families and cultural organizations to strengthen ties and ensure that our children are well protected, that they are put on the right track, and that they receive the right guidance. As adults, as leaders of the community, these are important things that we have to keep in mind. I have the responsibility of education. And I believe that what the Ahmadiyya Society is doing right now is extremely important because it's a very important way of ensuring that your children get the right education, of bringing them together. Education is not only linked to knowledge. Education is also linked to what we call the way of living. On parle du savoir-être et du savoir-faire. Et je crois que la société ahmadiste, aujourd'hui, est en train de s'assurer que le savoir-être reste quelque chose d'important parmi la communauté. Je ne vais pas être plus long. Je vous remercie une nouvelle fois de m'avoir invité à prendre la parole aujourd'hui durant cette convention. Mais pour moi, j'insiste à dire que l'activité d'aujourd'hui et les démarches de la société sont extrêmement importantes pour assurer que la vie que nous menons dans le pays continue à bouger dans la bonne direction. Alors là, je remercie une nouvelle fois la société de m'avoir invité pour cette convention et je souhaite beaucoup de succès et beaucoup de paix à tous ceux qui sont venus, qui sont déplacés pour participer à cette convention. Merci beaucoup. Merci pour votre attention.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. And just to let you know, as much pleasure that you find in joining us, the same pleasure we find in receiving you. I would like also now to welcome some of the guests. We have in our midst Mr. Pradip Jiha, former Minister of Telecommunication and Information Technology. We have also our friend Philippe Boudou, former Mayor of Ubar Saint-Rosil, and others, my friend Souben, and others who have just joined us. I have now the pleasure to invite the respected Amir and President of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Mauritius, Mr. Musa Toju, to address us.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم محترم Maulana Amir Karim Sahib, representative of the Caliph, Honorable Minister, Honorable Leela Devi Dukan Ruchman, Minister of Education, Human Resources, Tertiary Education and Scientific Research, Reverend the Mayors, President of District Council, and all ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for kindly accepting our invitation to participate in this convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community is that sect which was established in accordance with the prophecy made by the founder of Islam, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be on him, over 1400 years ago. In this respect, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community is unique because though the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, prophesied that Muslims would split and divide, he did not mention any other sect directly. In his prophecy, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be on him, foretold of a time when the majority of Muslims would have forgotten the true teaching of Islam and their acts would not be in accordance with their religion. Alongside this, he also gave the glad tidings that at a time of such spiritual decline, Allah the Almighty would send a person as the promised Messiah and Imam Mahdi. Mahdi means the guided one, who would enlighten the entire world with the true and peaceful teachings of Islam. And we, Ahmadi Muslim, believe the founder of our community to be the promised Messiah and Mahdi, who was sent according to the prophecies of the Holy Prophet of Islam, peace and blessings be on him. During his life, the promised Messiah, peace be on him, shined an internal light upon Islam's true teachings and informed the world of what Islam truly represents. Hence, the first point I wish to make clear is that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community should not be considered as a liberal or a reformist sect of Islam. Rather, we are following the original teachings of Islam as prescribed by the Holy Quran and the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Those noble teachings can be summed up in 2 lines: to love your Creator and to fulfill his rights, and to love his creation and fulfill their rights. Thus, Muslims are taught to show love, compassion, and kindness to all of God's creation, especially to humanity, which Allah has deemed to be the best creation. It is absolutely true that we, Ahmadi Muslims, are peace-loving and seek to build bridges of hope and love between different religions and different communities. However, this is not because we have deviated from Islam or modernized it in any shape or form. Rather, it is because we follow Islam's authentic teachings. Islam's core teachings revolve around fulfilling the rights of God Almighty and fulfilling the rights of His creation. So now I shall explain how the Holy Quran has taught Muslims to fulfill those 2 fundamental objectives. The first verse of the first chapter of the Holy Quran states, quote, "In the name of Allah, the gracious, ever merciful," unquote. Thereafter, in the second verse, it says that Allah the Almighty is the, quote, "Lord of all the worlds," unquote. Then in the third verse, it is again repeated that Allah is, quote, "the gracious, the merciful." Hence, the very first words and verses of the Quran make it crystal clear that it is not only Muslims who benefit from Allah, who is a gracious and merciful. As the Lord of all mankind, He is not only the provider and sustainer of Muslims, but also of Christians, of Jews, of Hindus, of Sikhs, and the people of all other faiths and beliefs. He is even the sustainer of those who deny His existence. Therefore, according to the laws of nature, Allah the Almighty has provided the means and sustenance for the survival of all mankind. There is a general lesson for all Muslims that shows them that they cannot claim that God Almighty is only for them, but He is for all of humanity, and indeed for all forms of creation. Furthermore, in chapter 21, verse 108 of the Holy Quran, Allah the Almighty has deemed the founder of Islam, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be on him, to be a mercy for all mankind. He was sent to this world by God not only as a source of love, compassion, and sympathy for Muslims, but also for all peoples of all faiths and all beliefs. When these are the basic principles of Islam, how then could it be possible for true Muslims to engage in oppression, injustice, or cruelty towards God's creation? Surely it is inconceivable for a sincere Muslim to wish others harm or to hold any harm of ill intent towards them. It is due to this pious teaching that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community proclaims its message of love for all across the globe. It is because of this teaching that the Ahmadiyya Muslims do not bear enmity or hatred towards anyone. Indeed, the founder of Islam, peace and blessing be on him, laid down the foundation for the peace in just one sentence. His words were as magnificent as they were simple. He said that we should love for others what we love for ourselves. We should desire for others what we desire for ourselves. Now the question is, what do we want from our lives? Do we desire hardship and grief? Do we desire injustice? Do we want to be treated in a cruel and heartless fashion? Do we have ambition to be mired in poverty and to go to bed hungry every night? Do we want our children to be plagued by ill health, to be uneducated and to be placed in danger? Of course, no normal person would ever hope for any of these things. Therefore, as Muslims, we must seek prosperity not only for ourselves, but also for others. We must open our hearts to humanity. We should consider the pain of others as though it is our own pain and grief. It is the duty of a Muslim to fulfill the rights of other people, irrespective of their beliefs or background, and to wish them well, to care for them, and help them in their times of need. Of course, sometimes circumstances arise which cause people to argue and quarrel. Human nature is such that it is impossible for people to agree on everything, and so disagreement will occur from time to time. But the key is to solve this dispute with justice and fairness, rather than prioritize our own interests before others. To bring any conflict to an end, justice is a prerequisite. If a person is not fair and ethical, then whatever grievance or problem exists will only escalate. Rather than peace, all that will be achieved will be increasing hatred and contempt. Thus, at many places in the Holy Quran, Allah the Almighty has commanded Muslims about being just and treating others in the best way. In chapter 4, verse 136, the Holy Quran demands the very highest possible standard of justice. It requires that a Muslim should be willing to forego all of their personal interests for the sake of the truth. Muslims are commanded to put aside their own desires or personal relationship and to be witnesses for the sake of Allah the Almighty. This verse instructs that a person must even be willing to testify against himself, against his parents and his loved one in order to establish justice. Islam teaches that a Muslim first loyalty must always be to the truth, and so a person must never hide the facts or give false testimony. A person should not be governed by his own personal desires, as this leads to bias and prejudice and takes a person away from what is fair and what is right. This enlightened principle is the means to solve the problems of the world and to transform all forms of hatred into peace, tolerance, and mutual respect. Furthermore, in chapter 16, verse 91 of the Holy Quran, Allah directs Muslims not only speak the truth and to be just, but also to favor others. Yet, even this is not the limit of Quranic teachings, because when a person bestows a favor on others, there remains the possibility that he will seek something in return or will remind the person of the benefit he has conferred upon him. Therefore, the Quran says that a person should give, quote, give like kindred, unquote. This means that a Muslim should treat others as though he would treat his own close family members and loved ones. It means that a person should offer sympathy and compassion and be willing to serve others without any expectation, just like a mother serves and selflessly nourishes her child, without any desire for reward or recompense. If a person looks at the period of early Islam through the lens of justice and objectivity, he will see for himself that the wars fought in the life of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing of Allah be on him, and his four rightly guided successors were defensive in nature and were never initiated by the Muslim. Despite the horrific cruelties and merciless persecution inflicted by the opponents of Islam, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be on him, was ever ready to accept the hands of peace and to seek reconciliation. The Holy Book of Muslim clearly states that God has provided for all people and not just for those who follow Islam. This is why it is imperative that Muslims secure the rights of all, not just of their fellow Muslims. In chapter 47, verse 5, the Quran has established another important principle for conflict resolution. It states that following the successful conclusion of a war, the victor must manifest grace, and it is better to free prisoners of war. Such prisoners should be released either as a favor or in return for a modest sum. Yet, in today's world, we see how prisoners of war are kept in the most inhumane conditions for years on end, while little or no recourse to justice or freedom is given to them. In complete contrast, after the Battle of Badr, which was a very significant war in which the non-Muslim of Mecca had sought to end Islam once and for all, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be on him, showed absolute benevolence and mercy. Instead of seeking revenge, the punishment he carried out was itself an outstanding example of building bridges between opposing parties and set inspirational precedent for times to come. Rather than torturing or enslaving the prisoners of war, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be on him, instructed those prisoners who could read and write to educate the Muslim who were illiterate. Thus, education was literally their means of freedom. It was an incomparable example of how, even from amongst a state of bitter war and conflict, some good could ultimately be retrieved. Those who had themselves shown no mercy towards the Muslim were treated with compassion and consideration and utilized as teachers. This example exhibited two beautiful aspects to the character of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be on him. On the one hand, he was neither vengeful nor bitter towards those who had persecuted him and his followers. Secondly, it proved how highly he valued education and learning. He desired for people to better themselves and to progress in all spheres of life, and education was the key to this. No worldly person would think in this way, and most certainly the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be and blessing be on him, stand alone in his wisdom and grace. Today, due to the hateful acts of certain Muslims, Islam is widely considered to be intolerant and an extremist religion. However, nothing could be further from the truth. Islam is that religion which has enshrined within its teaching and principle the principle of freedom of belief and freedom of conscience. Islam categorically states that there is no compulsion in religion and that belief is a matter of one's own heart and mind. It is true that the early Muslims did engage in some wars, but they were never fought with the intention of conquering land or territory. Nor were they fought so that non-Muslims could be forced into accepting Islam. Rather, they were conducted as means of establishing freedom of faith as an everlasting means of establishing universal principle. The Quran is very clear about this. The first time the Muslims were granted permission to engage in such defensive war was given in chapter 22, verse 40 and 41 of the Holy Quran. In these verses, Allah the Almighty stated that permission to fight was granted because the Muslims were being attacked by people who sought not only to destroy the destruction of Islam, but who sought to finish and eliminate the institution of religion itself. The Quran says that if the Muslims were not permitted to fight back, then no church, no synagogue, no temple, no mosque, or the place of worship of any religion would have remained safe. Hence, when the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be on him, and his followers took part in wars and battles, it was for the sake of defending the right of all people to worship as they please. We live in a time when it is often alleged that Islam seeks to deny others their rights. But the complete opposite is true. Islam is that religion and that teaching which has taken up that mantle of defending and protecting every religion and all people. Islam is a defender of Christians and Jews. It is a defender of Hindus and Sikhs. And it is a defender of the people of all faith and belief. These are the unique and unparalleled standards of Islam, wherein the early Muslims gave their lives in order to protect the institution of religion and to guarantee the principle of freedom of belief. Another injunction of Islam is given in chapter 20, verse 132, where it stated that no person or nation should cast envious looks at the wealth and resources of others. No one should covet what is not rightfully theirs. Yet, in today's world, it is jealousy, a desire to dominate others and to unjustly benefit from their wealth that underpins the wars and conflicts that are taking place. Indisputably, such self-interest and greed has been the downfall of mankind and has led to world peace being undermined time and time again. For example, some governments completely ignore the human rights abuses taking place in countries because they wish to have access to the oil or natural resources of these nations. However, the members of the public are not blind, deaf and dumb. They can see that such policies are not based on justice, and naturally this leads to frustration. Hence, nations must be fair in their dealings and should not be governed by narrow self-interest, but rather by what is right, by what is just, and what is in the interest of the world at large. If Islam's true teachings are sincerely followed, they will prevent grievances or dispute from ever developing. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I humbly pray that may every nation, every person, come to fulfill the rights of others, and may justice prevail over all forms of injustice. May all the people come to recognize their Creator and the fact that God Almighty is the sustainer and provider for all mankind, and that He is the gracious, the merciful for all mankind, and that He is the gracious, the merciful, and that He desires for the people of all races and beliefs to live in this world as one, and for mankind to be united in peace and harmony. Through His grace, mercy, and compassion, may Allah enable such a spirit to develop in this world. May we all come to see this true peace in our lives. With these words, I would like to once again thank you for joining us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amir Sahib, for this inspiring speech and for explaining to the audience the true teachings of Islam. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of this session, this special session. I would like to thank the Honourable Minister for having been our guest tonight, this afternoon. I'd like to thank also the mayors, President of District Council, friends from the political arena, members of the press, and other friends of the community who have taken their time and they have spared their time and be among us today. We really value your friendship, and we hope that our collaboration and that friendship that ties the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in Mauritius and yourself would continue and will be very fruitful in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like now to request Amir Sahib or Maulana Mahmood Sahib to conduct a silent prayer. But before, I would like also to announce that once we finish the silent prayer, members may wish to visit. It's a free guided tour that you will have of a small exhibition on the Holy Quran that we've spent. It's a voluntary if you want to join. Otherwise, you are invited to share dinner with us upstairs. Thank you very much.